Elon Musk, the CEO of SpaceX, said that the company's satellite internet network Starlink just reached 70,000 active customers and that the company expects to grow quickly in the next year. Musk made a statement at the Mobile World Congress trade show in Barcelona, Spain, quote, "We are well on our way to having a few 100,000 customers, probably more than 500,000 people within the next 12 months. So in this video, we're going to examine Elon Musk's Starlink for boats whose internet speed is on another level. Starlink is the company's ambitious project to construct an interconnected internet network with thousands of satellites, which are collectively referred to as a constellation in the space industry. This constellation will be capable of providing high-speed internet access to customers located anywhere on the planet. SpaceX initially launched the service with a beta program for select customers for $99 a month. Over the past year, the company has sought regulatory approval to test the network while it is in flight, as well as expand the service to large moving vehicles such as ships and trucks. Assurance of Elon Musk Starlink for boats to its users. Musk made these remarks in response to a question asked on Twitter by a user with the handle Trevor Chapman. The user wanted to know if Starlink could connect his 5 children to their school in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. The user mentioned in the post that they plan to sail around the world in a sailboat. "Yeah, that'll be relatively easy," Musk replied. Here's why it has a chance of succeeding. Satellite internet allows users to connect to the internet by creating a direct link to satellites that encircle the Earth in a suitable place. Users that use these services can access the internet even when they do not have a reliable connection to the ground. That is fantastic news for folks who reside in underserved and rural areas. It is also fantastic news for people who travel to distant areas such as seafarers and others. There has been much speculation about how Starlink will function at sea, so Musk's claim that it would be simple is noteworthy. Although it is plausible that a boat could see a satellite in the sky, the Starlink satellite must keep a connection with the larger internet to function properly. This is accomplished through the use of substantial ground stations that are operated by SpaceX. Musk has already talked about the possibility of laser communications between satellites, which would let satellites talk to each other. So a satellite that is flying above a boat might connect with another satellite that is flying above a ground station to finish the connection. Musk said on Twitter in February 2020 that these direct links aren't needed and that the constellation might instead use relays on the ground and in the ocean to bounce signals and send them to where they need to go. This was the answer to a question about whether or not direct ties are required, even if it turned out that the destination was a ship in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Now, let's discuss the Starlink for boats, which can also be referred to as Starlink Maritime. Starlink's Internet from Space service has continued to widen its applications to a range of different scenarios with the release of Starlink Maritime. What started off in people's houses and then grew to include immobile RVs is now also available at a cost of $5,000 a month for boats that are actively moving through the waters. By providing this service, SpaceX hopes to entice wealthy individuals who own super yachts in addition to owners of commercial vessels and oil rigs. Purchasing Starlink Maritime calls for a one-time payment of $10,000 plus the acquisition of 2 ruggedized high-performance Starlink dishes, which according to the US order can be shipped in approximately 2 weeks. In comparison, the cost of the gear for Starlink's residential and RV services is $599. This price includes a single smaller dishy McFlatface, and the monthly subscriptions cost either $110 for the home service or $135 for RV lifers. Importantly, using the RV service while the vehicle is moving is not only prohibited but also voids the guarantee. A Starlink Maritime membership, much like a Starlink RV subscription, can be put on hold during the months in which it is not required. A warning against excessive use of the network service is included, although this plan, like all Starlink plans, does not impose a data cap on its customers. A side-by-side comparison of live footage obtained by SpaceX drone ship was shared by SpaceX on their website. The video on the right was obtained using Starlink Maritime, while the video on the left was captured using an unnamed service that SpaceX CEO Elon Musk claims cost $155,000 per month for a lot worse connection. In contrast to the residential and RV services offered by Starlink, the performance that Maritime delivers to its customers might be characterized as something of a mixed blessing. Let's talk about the internet speed. Due to the two terminals, Maritime speeds of 100 and 350 Mbps down and 20 to 40 Mbps up are a little bit faster than residential speeds, but the latency is worse for Maritime users at 99 milliseconds compared to 20 to 40 milliseconds for other users. Even if that were the case, if you pay SpaceX $5,000 a month for Maritime, you might expect a certain level of service. Even so, at least you won't have to worry about trees blocking your view of the sky. What area does Starlink for boats cover? The waterways surrounding the United States, including the Great Lakes, the waters of Europe extending from the Mediterranean to the North Sea, the waters surrounding New Zealand and the majority of Australia, as well as parts of South America, are all covered by Starlink Maritime. The launch of additional satellites is scheduled to take place in the fourth quarter, which will result in further expansion. There are currently over 400,000 users being supported by SpaceX's more than 2,400 Starlink satellites that are located in low to medium Earth orbit. A week after the Federal Communications Commission gave its approval for Starlink to be used on moving vehicles, the company finally got the chance to launch its maritime service. When using frequencies in the range of 12.2 to 12.7 GHz, the maritime service includes a statement from the Federal Communications Commission warning of the possibility of interference. Quote, Starlink's in-motion operations, including for vessels, must accept any interference received from both current and future services authorized in the band, even if such interference causes undesirable operations for Starlink services and its customers. End quote. Finally, let's look at the component of Elon Musk Starlink for boats. When it comes to the components contained within both the boat and the RV versions of the Starlink system, there is not much of a difference between the two. Therefore, the components of Starlink gear for boats are two dishes, a tripod mount for the dish, a router, and its connecting wires. The instructions that are attached to the product that is contained within the box make the process of putting it together an easy one to follow. When you turn the power on, the dish spins horizontally and begins looking for a signal in the sky. Once it locates one, the dish remains in that position, and the motors inside the dish continue to rotate it as necessary. You'll see that it moves extremely slowly. For instance, if the boat is swinging while you're anchored, it will rotate effectively as you move. As was mentioned before, this feature is the license that Starlink was able to obtain from the Federal Communications Commission, which enables Starlink to be used while the user is in motion. The device was not designed to be utilized when the user is moving or in motion, but rather while they are in a stationary area. Now that it has been licensed, it can be used in moving vehicles such as cars or boats, and we anticipate that Starlink will soon be available for use in airplanes. That sure is something to look forward to, hopefully sooner rather than later.